Hey, thanks for tuning in today. Gonna have an amazing show. Let's start by letting you listen to this exceptionally interesting audio clip. Let's play it.
Hey! That was not an elk.
Today I have two pieces of footage that you gave comments back on. I got a ton of feedback I'm really grateful for. And I have an exceptional analysis that's going to bring us to the point of whether they're real or not real. I'm going to bring as much clarity to it as I can. And then of course these two audio, the one that you just heard and this one. Very impressive stuff. So we're going to analyze this to the best of my ability. I'm going to put all my experience and knowledge and use of anatomy, the computer voice stress analysis tests, all this stuff to bring light on whether this evidence or this footage or these audio recordings are authentic or not. So let's get right into it. Let's go for it. All right, so we're going to get some real answers today. I want to start with this one piece of footage, the Ontario footage, that people were quite positively looking at. So I've got some really significant pieces of evidence that I want to go through. One thing I'm going to do once in a while, it's called computer voice stress analysis. It's considered to be a decent form of telling if someone's telling the truth or not, based on when there's a strong fail or a strong pass. So in this upcoming video, so the first thing that we're going to see in this video is, let's play it. He's panning around, making some excuse, and you need to understand, so the computer voice stress analysis showed this as a fail, which I'm going to say is a good 20% likely that this is not an authentic piece of footage. So I'm not giving a lot of weight to that because it was, my colleague is from the US Department of Defense, and since it wasn't a strong fail, I'm going to put less weight on that particular analysis. However, this pan around is a big red flag for me. This person literally pans off, pans back, and then holds on the spot that a Sasquatch is coming out. That is a huge red flag, huge. I'm going to say that bumps me up to a good another 50% likelihood that this is fraudulent. So we're at a good 70% likelihood that this is not an authentic piece of footage. However, I'd like you to watch this segment from my teacher and mentor of mine, Dr. Jeff Meldrum, because all this movement that you're seeing from the Sasquatch is based on, because a lot of it looks decent and authentic, and a lot of people are convinced by this from the comments that I've read, and rightly so, because this individual is doing some things right because they've been watching the Patterson footage, which is absolutely authentic footage, 100% authentic, and I'm even going to talk about that a little bit today. But listen to what Jeff Meldrum has to say, and I'm going to take this evidence, this very significant, undeniable anatomical evidence based on real knowledge of the stance phase of how the foot moves and how we propel ourselves off as a human being as opposed to a Sasquatch, which is very different. So let's watch this.
My research emphasis is on the form and function of the human foot and its evolutionary history. If I had nothing but the footprint evidence, the casts that were recovered from this site, I would be very convinced of the credibility of the film. The Sasquatch has retained the more primitive characteristic of a very flexible instep, a midfoot flexibility, which can be seen here. So as the heel comes up in the supporting foot, the heel moves somewhat independently of the rest of the foot. This allows for a combination of propulsion and prehension, or the grasping ability of the foot. That indicates the ability to navigate that very rugged, steep terrain that you can see surrounding this film subject. That's a remarkable detail that is rarely drawn attention to. This is the contrast between the Sasquatch foot and the human foot. it can sometimes cause some of the substrate, in this case that sandbar, to be forced back up as a pressure ridge because of the arch, giving the foot a much more stable leverage, very different adaptation for walking. But that distinctive combination of features evident in the Sasquatch foot is very elegantly adapted to the habitat in which they're found in. And that motion was recorded in some of the footprints in a very dramatic way. So this is one of the casts from the Patterson-Gimlin film site. Here you can see the negative space that's left as the substrate is pushed up by the pressure now over the forepart of the foot. You have to remember, a footprint is not a mold of a foot, but it's the record of the entire sequence of interactions of the foot with the substrate through the entire stance phase.
So now we're going to have a look at something that's really tremendously significant. Jeff is very in the office, sort of in the lab, studying, and his work is immensely important. And all that he's been doing with 100% certainty has been substantiated by myself and others in the field. The alignment of the way they move, which is from the Patterson footage that we've learned, human beings don't move like that. The heavy weight, the muscle, the way they go up and down through terrain. I've literally studied and analyzed dozens, probably over 50 trackways in my nearly 20-year career out in the field. And when it's an authentic Sasquatch trackway, it's very, very pronounced and very, very easy to see. So when we have a piece of footage, we're looking at the actual stance phase as it's happening, the mid-tarsal joint movement. And it's very important that we see in the Patterson footage, especially when there's a bit of an incline, that foot comes right up. The way that foot comes, not just the body movement, and we'll just stay away from the anatomical bipedal movement of the Sasquatch specifically, because this video actually has some decent movement. It's watch the Patterson film and he's moving appropriately. However, he messed up big time with the feet. You can see how this foot strike, see how it pulls off low? Literally, a Sasquatch cannot walk like that. I've never seen a trackway ever in the over 50 trackways I've detailed, studied in my life in the Rocky Mountains, in Montana, in Washington, in New York, all the way down into Alabama. In my expertise and my experience, incapable of moving their foot like that. Look at that foot strike and how the foot comes off and low. The Sasquatch don't do that. The Sasquatch have to come straight back, especially on any kind of an incline, which you can see there. And also I can see that the foot strike comes back wide. A Sasquatch cannot walk like that. They have to walk in alignment. They cannot walk spaced out because they have a ball joint that rolls off. And I've seen that in a trackway 3 days ago from a Sasquatch. I see the power, I see the push down, I see the 5 stages of that stance phase, and all through here, I'm not going to go through the specifics of it, but the stance phase is completely wrong. The hip movement is completely wrong. The lean forward looks good. The arm movement looks good. The size of the Sasquatch, I see no need to even analyze that, because if I've got the computer voice stress analysis, I've got that preposterous pan and look back. As someone who's been, attempting to film Sasquatch for nearly 20 years, and all the dozens, even working with Survivor Man, I had some exceptional stuff happen. The odds of you having the camera pointing in the right direction at the right time is very, very slim to none. As much as you try, this guy literally, honestly, it's 1,000,000 to 1 what he did. He literally panned off, and he stopped panning off, panned back, and then held position where the Sasquatch came out centered for absolutely no reason. So 1-to-1 chance, if he was faking it, he'd point it in the right direction because he knew the Sasquatch was coming out. I'm literally saying, even if I can just try to be really conservative, 1 in a 50,000 chance that you're going to pan off, pan back, and even pan off, pan back, stop, hold, not keep panning, not move away on a boat. No, you hold position centered precisely where that Sasquatch came out. Huge red flag. But even with that, I'm saying 20%, 50%, 70% likely. But with the way the foot strike and the stance phase is completely wrong, the foot comes up in the wrong direction, this is 99% likely to be absolutely untrue. Untrue. It's very likely fraudulent footage, and many people, myself included, before the analysis, were impressed with it. And at the end of the day, I think that that's really the end result is just extremely unlikely to be authentic for those three profound reasons. Which will lead me into the next piece of footage that I'll talk about. This one's kind of a quick work because the CSVA, that we'll call it from now on, showed that the initial person that speaks was neutral, couldn't tell. However, the second voiceover is a strong fail.
Hey, there's something down there. You see that in the clearing?
Oh, yeah.
Strong fail. The second person who's talking literally comes off as a strong fail. So that's I'm going to give 30% weight to this being inauthentic. However, when you look at the footage after, we just looked at a decent piece of footage where you had the leaning forward movement, the arm movement was correct. On this particular individual, you can see in the feet, I don't even need to go through it. That's completely human. He's walking foot in front of the other foot. Sasquatch don't do that. He has no heel up angle that the Sasquatch do, none at all. And the swagger, the upper body movement's wrong. And then even, you need to understand this too, something I've learned about looking at authentic footage that's blurry is a blurry piece of footage will never really go horribly out. Like, legs are legs, and there shouldn't be a big leg and a wide leg and a big leg and a wide leg. If that's the case, it's because there's a costume and it's moving in and out, and I can see that on this. So not only inauthentic body movement, I pause from time to time on this, and the bad gorilla costume is what it looks like, probably. It's skinnier, it's wider, the shoulders are the same thing. So really this piece of footage is, I'm going to give this 100% fail based on the computer voice analysis recognition and just the movement, again, that we can compare from watching the last piece of footage and look at this one and go, that is just not going to work at all. It's just not. So we're going to put a 100% fail on this one. And then now move on to a really nice piece of footage where the computer voice stress analysis came back as neutral.
Hear that? Get Trevor. Austin, get the light. Fuck. Hey! That was not an elk. Get my keys. Get right. Dude, fuck that. Fuck that. Everybody get in my truck.
So it's not a reliable piece of evidence, so I can say nothing with that. However, what I am going to tell you is there are two individuals out there. The first red flag for me is the wood knocking sounds. They do 3 wood knocks. Bang, bang, bang. Bang, bang, bang. In my career, having heard dozens and dozens of wood knocks from Sasquatch and working with colleagues that are very authentic, I've never heard them. This is the rule, even in the wilderness. So with the native people that I've been trained by, and especially with Sasquatch, you do 1 loud, clear wood knock. It's saying, I'm in this general area. You do 2 clear, loud wood knocks. It's very profound because they're saying, I'm exactly here. They're telling you precisely where they are. I've literally never heard them do 3 tree knocks. You can watch it in my Garth medical doctor video that I put out this year where we're walking along, 1 knock, 1 knock, 1 knock. We heard 2. It was amazing, right? In my movie coming out, in multiple times I've been out in the bush with Survivor Man, with Jeff Meldrum, 1 knock, 1 knock, 1 knock, mostly, rarely ever 2. So that's a big red flag for me. And then the sounds of this. So I want to play a little sequence from, just to give you an example of what human beings special human beings are capable of when they make auditory sounds. I've heard people make mountain lion sounds amazing. I've heard them make chimpanzee, gorilla sounds. So let me play this for you. I have a bit of a sore throat today, but I can auditorily duplicate these sounds.
Everybody get in my
First of
truck.
all, the Sasquatch sound a little bit close, which is odd. They'd be right on top of you. Not strong evidence to say one way or the other, but there's two Sasquatch out there. It just sounds like a guy in the bush. I'm not even going to give a percentage of this one. I just don't think it's authentic. It's interesting and whatnot, but just a couple red flags in here. I could go, I can make that sound. What really gets it for me brings us into the next piece of footage. The next piece of footage, I think, is so authentic that I'm going to explain to you why that authentic piece of footage actually makes this one less likely to be authentic. In this footage, let's play it first real quick. So what I'm hearing here, so I guess there's brush and crashing sounds. I give no evidence either way to that. I don't know what's going on. Maybe there's a Sasquatch. They do that. So the brush sound, I don't know. There's no talking from any human being, so we don't have the computer voice stress analysis. But what I'm hearing is loud sounds that are very unlikely to be able to be perpetrated by a human being. I didn't hear that in the other one. And the other thing that I don't talk about, and this is because I've had a lot of interactions with multiple Sasquatch up close, it seems to me that the gentler sounds, the younger sounding Sasquatch, and even in the trackways, you'll see this. The smaller, younger males will be up front, and the bigger males, and even the dominant male, will be off in the back. And that's what I'm hearing here. I'm hearing the big guy off in the distance. I'm even thinking the distances are appropriate. In the last video, it just didn't seem right. And the way they came on, it just even subconsciously from what I've been through and having experienced this in real life, it just didn't seem, it seemed too much, too crazy, just too people-like, way too people-like. On this one, I don't see that at all. I see the proper spacing. I hear the proper sounds that I've heard before, a very chimpanzee-like sound. And then, of course, what really makes this video just explode for me is those first growls. They're not only clear, so you can't be using a megaphone. Maybe you could be using a speaker, and that would blow my whole analysis, and they'd be able to fake me on that. But it's probably in the bush. It's a cabin. It's outside. So there's likely forest around. But even the person, the way they're reacting, just seems very authentic, very just in the authentic moment. So something feels really right about it. And of course, the biggest thing I give credence to is those powerful big sounds. Man, that doesn't sound like a human being could pull that off. And I've heard Sasquatch make those sounds before, and that's in the back. And again, they got the smaller sounds in the front, and I've heard Sasquatch make those sounds before. And I believe a human being would be capable of those smaller sounds, but the authenticity, the spacing, the way they're coming off just seems legit and real to me. So this has all been real fun. Even the evidence that I find authentic is not going to prove Sasquatch. The footage that I have got of Sasquatch, the Patterson footage, hasn't been enough. The exceptional, amazing piece of footage that the Patterson footage is, I'm 100.0% that the Patterson footage is real, just so we're clear about that. And if you don't believe that, you need to go look at the evidence, because, man, there's just no way that could have been hoaxed. I know that there's a whole story and a guy that says he was in a suit and all. It just can't be true. It can't be true because what Patterson and Bob Gimlin recorded, the evidence that they have, is so overwhelmingly powerful. Like Jeff Meldrum does a piece in a presentation where he talks about how there are things that were counterintuitive at the time. We didn't know about a mid-tarsal joint. We didn't know that they walked in alignment. We didn't know any species walked in alignment like that. So the fact that there's multiple pieces of evidence that will literally, so for somebody to make a mid-tarsal joint in a foot and it shows in the substrate, and the foot is actually grasping the terrain and showing that in the trackway that's in alignment, I mean, those two factors right there makes it literally impossible to have been hoaxed. Literally impossible. Never mind that there's so many other authentic things going with the Patterson footage. I will always use it as the hoaxers use it to help their hoaxes look legit. I will always use the evidence of it to substantiate otherwise, because what's happening in it is so absolutely profound. So in my footage, you know, I have a lot of lessons that are learned, but I really hold a lot of weight to the Patterson stuff. So I think this was a wonderful little experiment in testing the knowledge that we have, the science and the experience that we have, where we can actually learn lessons about how we can, you know, show something is real or not real, and even take those lessons out into the field and see the way the Sasquatch are moving and why they're moving, and take it to another level, because I am boots on the ground. I do take people out and show them a Sasquatch, and it's been an amazing journey, and I'm really excited about the future of it, because this is the year, ladies and gentlemen, 2023. There's so many amazing things happening. The discovery process is going to go to another level. It's going to absolutely blow your mind. There's no way we can do anything but have tremendous, incredible success this year. 2023 is the year of Sasquatch, 100%. Stay tuned for more, because the discovery of Bigfoot is happening. Bye for now.